everybody. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart, and Tym Moss is not here today. So you'll just have to imagine him sitting next to me, right, to the best of your ability. And also, I need to share with everybody today, I am going to be on vacay for 2 weeks, something that I never do. And I will be back here with you all May 13th. We'll have two great replays of shows while I'm gone. And I have an amazing live guest on our show on May 13th. So yeah, I just, you know what? We all need a little R&R. And anyone who knows me or works with me knows I never take any R&R. Everything is work, 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 work. I take every single job I get in the entertainment industry because I'm a gig worker at the end of the day. But you know what? You all know I totally love what I do. And yeah, but I miss you all while I'm in Portugal. If any of you are watching and you've gone to Portugal or you have somebody fun for me to hook up with, would love that. I'll be in Lisbon and Porto. So yeah, it's all good. So I'm coming to you live from Pangea, where we recently featured someone who's been on our show, and she did a live performance here of Margot Channing. It was really, really great. It was kind of like old home week here again. You know, Margot started out in the cabaret world and of course has done a million things, including cabaret, and then coming full circle back to Pangea with a whole new show called Oversharing. If you know Margot, you will you won't find it surprising that the name of the show is Oversharing, but it was just, the show was just so great. It had humor, it had pathos. I love that word. It had heart. It had so much heart in it. And she had a packed house, which really, really makes us all happy because we support everyone who's our friend in this industry, right? Friends got to support each other. I'm very excited. I'm working with friends on Thursday to shoot the third sequel of Modest Male Exposure 3. I know, you know what? I know the title is racy. It is not porn, but you know, it's a catchy title, Modest Male Exposure 3. And again, I play my very well-known character, Wendy the Witch. All right. And if you know me, that's kind of very appropriate for me. It's going to be shot tomorrow, and then we will be letting everybody know when we're going to be doing screenings and parties and all kinds of things so that you can make sure that you join us, okay? Well, thank you all, first of all, for being here. I have a really fun guest today, someone really seasoned in this industry. You know that song from Joni Mitchell, Both Sides Now? Well, some of you do, some of you don't. But our guest today has really done both sides now and is kind of overlapping. Our guest today originally started out really more in the business side of things, working for Paramount and Landmark Entertainment, and then ended up getting cast as a small role in the wonderful film Jerry Maguire. Totally loved that film. I have to ask him what he played in that film. And then, of course, went on to do national commercials, and recently writing, producing, directing his own films. I'm going to let him tell you all about those, right? And one of the coolest things about him is he won Comedian of the Year in Tucson for 2025. So I guess he's a funny guy on top of it. We'll have to see, because you know it takes a lot to make me laugh. Okay, put your hands together for Joseph Nybyk.
How are you, Wendy?
Hi, darling. Was that a good enough intro for you?
It was one of the best I ever had. I appreciate it.
Well, you haven't had too many because you told me you haven't done a lot of podcasts, but I'll take it as a compliment. How's that? Yeah.
Just going out on stage all the different times I've done it. But thank you for having me on. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. I was in production up until Sunday night, and I'm just kind of still, how do I put it, decompressing.
You're decompressing. No, and you know what? I'm glad you're sharing that with everybody, because people that don't make films have no idea the sheer amount of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it, the lack of sleep, trying to organize the money, trying to organize the casting, getting the right director. And it's a lot of components that you're responsible for. So,
Yeah, like flying people in and out and feeding them, and then people canceling. It's just like
okay, let's talk about feeding and canceling, my two favorite subjects. I always joke on this show when I have people come live, my craft services are 2 Hostess cupcakes and a bottle of water. You know what, Joseph, if we could all pare it down to that, it would be easy. Do human beings need more than that, really?
They do if they're actors, because then they're vegan and macrobiotic.
Right. No, then you're dealing with what menus. And of course, I'm just joking about that. But the cancellation thing is that is really tough. Now, how do you deal with that? In terms of cancellations, are you talking about the actors or your support people? Like what, let's talk about the pitfalls in the industry.
With actors, it's like finding the right person is the biggest one. And this time around, like my lead was a friend. He's a television actor, Andrew Pensarella. He's just fantastic. Thank God for him. I went out to him. He loved the script, wanted to jump on board. The very next actor, I went out to. First, I always source my friends, like people that I already know.
Yeah, same.
And I had 2 people who were interested, and they both wanted to do it. But then one had a wedding that weekend, and it's not like a super high profile, high paid gig. So she had to choose, and she's a working model, but not an actress. And she knew like it required a lot of her. And I was like, look, I'll coach you. Like I can get the performance out of you.
Right.
But she just decided, like the amount of work I'll have to do to be that good, like you deserve better. And I won't be able to commit to that kind of work.
Okay.
So, then the next girl, she had issues with like SAG. And I was like, what? Get over that. And then it was just like I kept going to like the local agents, a couple LA agents, and I didn't like as a writer director, you want the person to be perfect. Like if I'm casting Wendy Stuart, I want someone who's vivacious. I want someone who's sprightly, who's got energy, who's beautiful, who's like does who's got the package. She's well spoken, she's got everything that is Wendy Stuart. And I'm not going to settle for less.
Thank you. You've already killed me with compliments. Can't wait to work on your next film with you, Joseph. No, just kidding. So, but I want to just say something. You weren't up to the contract part, right? You were at what I call the search and sniff part of it. You're looking for the perfect person. So I think what you're sharing is the frustration, right? Of you find the person and they'd be good for it. And then because of other commitments, right? Then they can't do it. And then you call agents and managers. What would share with us that whole process?
I started with like the agents that I'm friends with. And I really wanted to hire one of their people because they're kind of doing me a favor. But then, they send you like 10 or 12 actors and actresses, and then you feel terrible when you don't want any of them. And these are people that you've used their people before. And I just wanted, I wanted like the next Meg Ryan. I wanted like someone who's just fantastic. And like everyone has to fall in love with her the moment she opens her mouth. I wanted like Audrey Hepburn, and those women don't grow on trees.
They're all dead though, Joseph. You can't have them.
And they can't play, even if they were alive, they couldn't play 25 anymore. So I found this girl I just decided like to go through friends of friends. So I emailed my actor friends. I was like, hey, do you guys know anyone? I know a lot of you guys are like voice coaches, acting coaches, all this other stuff on the side. And a friend of mine recommended a girl who went to Berkeley, which is a lot of musical theater. And it was already sounding good if you want someone who's like vivacious and sprightly and a dancer. And her Instagram made sense, and then I got her on the phone and she's just fantastic. Her name's Presley Duck, and her and Santo Panzarella just knocked it out of the park this weekend. They were so fantastic in the roles. Like, I don't think I've ever shot anything where every single person on set's like, this is going to be so good. This is going to be so good.
Which is great.
And then I'm looking at the footage on Sunday when I'm doing my DIT, and I mean, they really did me right, because I won't compromise on actors and I won't compromise on my DP. It's just one of those things you learn in film school. Like, preparation is key, and then just making sure that everyone involved is. They don't have to be like the DP has to be a perfectionist like me, but everyone has to be a professional.
Well, you want people that are on their game. You don't have time to waste. It's money. Yeah. Let's face it, it's money.
Because if there's a bad performance, then the whole movie stinks.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's even worse when I'm watching. I was just at the Phoenix Film Festival and I watched one of their films. and all the performances were fantastic, but they cast a celebrity in one of the roles who wasn't really a real actor. He's like a reality person.
Got it.
And it suffered every time they were on screen. Like, it was like,
Yeah, you don't know, maybe, and I've seen this, money could have been connected to that person. You understand?
Yeah.
And then, but that's the catch-22, and you know this better than anyone. Having to cast someone that you know is kind of mediocre, but is going to come with a package of money because their partner or somebody wants them in that film. So, you know, at what point do you have to say to yourself, I'm going to have to reject this person because they're going to pull my whole film down, or hire them and hope for the best? I mean, how do you handle something like that?
I'm lucky in that I can pull a performance out of most people.
You can. Good for you.
As long as for me, it's like, do you look the part? Like, if I'm hiring like a deadbeat cab driver, or I'm hiring a junkie, I can get a performance out of those guys, even if they're non-actors.
Right.
Like, I just sit next to them and like run lines with them until they get it right. That's like I did Meisner. I studied the method. Like, I know how to.
Yeah, I know Meisner. That's what they taught in my university, was Meisner.
As long as they're not like super stiff. Like, I tried to do a reality teaser with my mom and dad, and they were both all like robotic. I mean, they're not actors, so. But I was like,
you know, that could be funny when you put some, you know what I'm saying? You put a non-actor, and that can really be humor. I love comedies. So
yeah, and that's why you audition them, so that you know you can at least get something out of them. Like Sidney Pollack said, you know, a tree. He would always try to make an actor do something different because he knew a tree too firmly planted cannot be moved.
There you go. I like that. I didn't even know that Sidney Poitier said that.
Yeah, Sidney Pollack. But you
Pollack, right.
You just couldn't so as long as I know I can adjust them, like I'll cast them if they just look like, if I need a heavyweight boxer or a bouncer and I want to look like Andre the Giant. And he's a great example. Like, not the greatest actor in the world, but he always did great, whether it was The Princess Bride or this or that, because those directors just knew what they needed to get out of him. They knew they could, like, he can walk and talk. I give him credit for that.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't cast him as like Lawrence of Arabia or anything, but
he can walk and talk. So I'm going to ask you, how much does the physicality, because you reference like cab drivers, boxers, that's a certain right physicality to someone. How, if you get the physical so right and it looks so good on the screen, if the person's performance isn't up to par, do you think they can pass anyway?
I would force them to give me a good performance.
You would just suck the life's blood out of them there, wouldn't you, Joseph?
I mean, there's famous stories of directors, like, you don't want to have to beat somebody up, but right. I'll get into the moment with them, and just, for me, it's just like an acting exercise. Back when, you know, when you're doing it with another actor and you're yelling and screaming, or you're crying together, or you're hugging one another up, like, I can get you there. So for me, having the feel of, let's say you're a rock star's like drummer, like, I want that party guy, you know, right. That's what I want. And it's pretty easy to get them to be wild and crazy, but if they're not doing it, you got to bring it out of them.
Yeah.
And an actor should be able to generate anything you want. But you just got to do it. I mean, it's like, there's so many stories of like Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte hating one another's guts, but they look like they're madly in love with one another in that movie they did.
But they're really both great actors, you know.
True.
I've had Eric Roberts on this show. He's phenomenal. What people have no idea the amount of indie films that he's done and the range. He's done many more films than Julia, because he does tons of indies. He's such an incredible actor, and somebody like that is just so incredibly gifted. You're lucky, right, when you find someone like that. So with your film, because you had started out talking about your frustration and working with friends and agents sending you people, did you finally get somebody, or you're still in the process of?
We hired an amazing actress named Presley Duck, who's done 5 or 6 low budget features, and she's gonna like work nonstop. She was wrecking my buddy Ryan Carnes, who was like a Marvel superhero in a series. What was it, The Phantom? It only went like 8 episodes, but he's just a fantastic actor, and he's done a million recurring roles of like 4 to 7 episodes. Like, he's always working. He's in his late 30s.
Yeah, that's what you want, right?
You know, does modeling, all that kind of stuff, and just a pro. So when he sent her to me, I knew she was going to be good because they don't recommend they're going to send you somebody that's terrible.
Somebody's really good. So, you know, being that we're talking about casting, there's a pet peeve that comes up with a lot of actors on this show, and myself and my co-host included. We've become really resentful being asked for our Instagram or our quote unquote social media. For me, you know, social media, I have my own YouTube channel that's got all of my work on it. So I can send that out to anyone. This is who I am. These are the films. This is my live theater. This is my stand-up. It's all there. But when frequently now they want your Instagram, what is your personal feeling about that?
I mean, like, what do they want from my Instagram?
Well, that is the question, right? Because when you submit, they're like, oh, we want to know your Instagram. So what are they going to be able to tell from Instagram?
Like, as a director, when I asked for actors and actresses' Instagrams, and in this case, it was really just like I had already cast the male and I knew them already. So I wanted their Instagram to see what they really look like.
Okay.
Like, in the old days, they used to take your Polaroids at auditions because, and it's like when I worked for Susan Smith, who was an agent back in the 80s and 90s and a huge agent. She used to look at actors and they would always want to see your contact sheet, not your headshot, but your contact sheet.
Right.
So they know how truly photogenic you are.
Or I've been in this business a long time. So yes, I can reference contact sheets and they can check your expressions on that too. They can see your range in a contact sheet, but they also, you know, the in-person component was a huge thing. What I don't comprehend now is why, you know, sending in a picture and they're like, oh, what's your Insta and your TikTok handle? You know what? If you're sitting on TikTok all day, guess what? I'm not doing my job. All right. Because if I were 20 years old and building an audience, TikTok is brilliant for that. If you are not 20 years old and you have been a workhorse in this industry and you work all the time, you know, TikTok once in a while is fine, but to steadily build, right, the way you need to on TikTok, I just don't believe it. And they have a lot of actors convinced that that's going to be their breakthrough. I don't agree with it. Tell me your feelings.
Yeah, when it comes to, well, one, for the people under 30, a contact sheet is like a collection of thumbnails that they would print, like all the negatives of the shoot that you had done. Usually, like, what is it, like 28 pics to a roll, so you'd have like 2 sheets. When it comes to, I mean, it's like the big story right now is Baywatch. They cast nothing but influencers on the new Baywatch.
Right.
And it's the only thing shooting in LA County. So everyone's like, how do we even audition for it if I don't have an Instagram following?
Right. They want the Instagram following. They want to use influencers.
So when it comes to, I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think people need to embrace it, even if you hate it, because I know my buddy is a super talented musician and he's dialed in with so many working producers, like so many super talented guys who are on a first name basis with like people like Paul McCartney and like huge musical acts. He's like, look, my best advice to you is not to do the road. It's to blow up on TikTok.
Right.
And his group they are doing the road. They're going up to like Sun Valley and they're going to be in all the summer vacation towns and like Aspen and all those places while they kind of tour to get their, just so they can perform together and really get their chemistry, you know, and like dial in their live shows, which you should do definitely in addition to your TikTok.
The TikTok's a great support to that, but you still have to go out and play. You can't, I don't think you can just do TikTok. You know, there'll be a very small percentage. They get to, you know, drop their first EP from that or whatever. But to sustain in this business, and if you've been in this business for a while, you know what I'm saying, to sustain a career, I don't think it can just be TikTok. You know, I think of all of the YouTube influencers, right? Like 15 years ago, they had campaigns, they had this, they had that. Most of them are not here. And the actors I know that have been doing this for 30, 40 years, still cranking it out, still getting roles, still doing this, still doing that, not on TikTok. It's just, I love talking with someone like you, right? Because you're coming from it with a different perspective. And I think we have to consider all perspectives, especially as talent.
Well, this is why I brought it up. Back in like
Yeah.
2004, 2005, I was talking to Andrew Norelli, who's one of the best comedians in the country. I mean, he's just fantastic. He's done at least 5 or 6 national shows. Like, I don't know which one he's done exactly, but he's done like Kimmel, he's done The Tonight Show. He's done the biggest shows that there are.
Yeah.
Super talented, respected by everyone in comedy. And back then we were talking about how everybody wanted us to have YouTube followings and Facebook followers, all this kind of stuff, because Dane Cook blew up on MySpace and
MySpace, right? MySpace.
All these other guys were blowing up.
Right.
And I just wanted to, like, I kept doing, and myself and a lot of my friends, like I had opened for Kippadada, he's been dead for like 15 years. And just different people in LA who were getting me spots at the Irvine Improv and the Brea Improv and the La Jolla Comedy Store. And I was like featuring for guys and opening for them. I was doing it the old way.
Yeah.
And I watched so many of the guys my same age who were about 29, 30 who had paid their dues for 5 or 6 years and worked the door at the store and done all this kind of stuff. And we stopped getting opportunities. And I saw a lot of those like MC gigs and feature spots starting to go to, like, influencer wasn't really a word back then. But they
were early influencers. We can call them that. And this, it was going to them.
Yeah, I'm not going to name names, but they weren't very good.
Right.
And they couldn't do 30 minutes, but they were getting booked. And they really couldn't MC either. They didn't have the skill of a comedian. They didn't know that they were supposed to like kind of like own the show and like bring people up. And it's not about you. It's about making the feature look good, and it's about making the headliner look good. And you're just like, you have to like tell the audience the rules, and you have to tell them, sign up for our social media, you have to do the announcements. Like, it's actually a job. It's not just you standing there cracking jokes.
Exactly.
And they, so many of those guys like blew up, and they got like, what stinks is, well, I mean, it's good for them. Like, they got opportunities on television, they got opportunities, and they made whatever money for 3 to 5 years. Like most artistic careers, kind of like in terms of the public, that's how long they last, 3 to 7 years. And then hopefully you're still a working talent. Like, I've been a working actor since I was like 21 years old.
I totally got that from reading about you, but I'm wondering where these guys are now, because believe it or not, I started in the late 70s. So here we are now. I wrote a book called She's the Last Model Standing. It's all about acting and modeling and everything. And why did I name it that? You know how many people I've been through that had moved way ahead of me, and you can't even find them now, right?
Yeah, but you still want that break, you know what I mean? Like, you still want a break to host, a show on, whatever it would be on E or this channel or that channel.
Yeah.
And, those opportunities are going to the influencers. Like, no matter how good you are, they want those people that have an audience already.
Yeah.
So you just can't ignore TikTok. And if that's the platform that's blowing people up, get on the platform and just grind out your content. And it's like, we all want to be creating content anyway. We all want to be on TV. And I forget the name. There's this Asian couple. They're called like I forget the name of their channel, but they have like a Saturday Night Live show where they do sketch, and they have a talk show that's kind of like The View. And then they do their videos, which is more like, I guess it's kind of like sketch again. But they have so much fun.
It's all their own content too. They're producing everything themselves. And
it's them and another married couple. And it's like, I was looking at it. I was like, every comedian's dream is to be a talk show host. Oh, that like his podcast is like his like Johnny Carson moment. And then he's got a Saturday Night Live sketch show when they're shooting videos. And then they've got their View, where it's like them and another married couple, and they'll bring in a guest and they just talk about whatever's going on in the world. And I know they're making good money because they've got a lot of followers. They have to be making like $500,000-600,000 a year.
Right.
But they're living the dream. I mean, they may not be on NBC, but I know they've got a nice studio. They've probably got nice cars, a comfortable living.
Nice cars, right?
Beautiful spouses. It's like
the dream. We call that the dream. They are living the dream.
They are. Yeah, no, they've got everything going for them. So it's like, if that's, and I don't even think that's settling. I think they're just, they've got it made. So, but I do get frustrated when I hear about like 2 of the more successful podcasters. They even went to South by Southwest. They've been everywhere.
Yeah.
In terms of like speaker panels, but they both complain about how they don't really want to do stand-up anymore because it's so much work. And I know neither one of them headlined on their own before they had a successful podcast.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this guy made it, and he's not even a real comic. I mean, they are good personalities. Their podcast rocks, but you still want, as a comic, you want to see people who are like people like Joe Rogan and Mark Maron become successful.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, you've been doing comedy for how long now? You won Tucson 2025 Comedian of the Year. How did you get into stand-up?
You know, my goal was always stand up. It just
Really? Wow.
as like a 3 and a 4-year-old, I remember watching Johnny Carson at the foot of my dad's bed, you know? Like everyone else would go to bed. He was up at the whatever it was, 11 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, watching Johnny in his chair, and I would sit next to his chair. I was supposed to be in bed, but I would sneak out to watch the Carson show. And I knew it's what I wanted to do. So when I graduated, but there's no opportunity in like small town Arizona. Like there's no comedy club. There's like nobody's a working actor, none of that. So
It's just saguaro cactus and desert.
exactly. Like in my hometown was like farms. It was like just hard work, and hard work will get you there. And I was like, I didn't know.
Farm.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was like opportunity in the arts, even though my mom was very active in making us go to like theater and musical productions.
Okay, so right, that seed had to be born from somebody. So your mom then influenced you, and you on your own, you enjoyed watching Johnny Carson.
Yeah, so I started when I was like in college. I went to a few productions, and I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, but they're really good. And I was like, I can't. I'm not. I think they've been acting for like they were like 21 years old, but they've been doing it for like 5 to 10 years.
Right.
And I went to New York City that summer where my buddy was trying to make it, and like the people that were in his circle were like the writer producer of The Bucket List. He was like an unknown student at NYU, and then my buddy Eric, who's a producer at DreamWorks, like just guys that went on to huge success. And they were all like, everyone's supportive in the arts if you're at a real theater group.
Yeah.
And it's not like LA. Like in LA, there's a lot of it's like competition based and based on superficiality. But
yes, it is.
In New York, Chicago, and quality theaters around the country, whether it's Minnesota or Actors Theaters of Phoenix, like there's so many supportive people that want you to do well, and they all just want to do good work. And that's why I totally recommend starting out in theater, because you'll be surrounded by pros who are in acting for the right reason.
Oh yeah, no. And how long did you spend in New York for? I'm curious.
Off and on for about 3 years.
I've been here my whole life. Okay. The one thing we are able to get in New York that is harder in LA, because you can get around and take the subway and walk to things or whatever, you have so much at your fingertips here in terms of being able to do theater. There's so many theater groups, and some of them, as small as they are, there'll be some named people that come out of those groups. And you have the opportunity here to work with incredible people. We have an amazing place right around here. I'm on the Lower East Side doing the show, Theater for the New City. The amount of productions that come out of there a year. We're going into our Lower East Side Festival the end of May, and I am actually the MC for one of those nights, and I'll perform as well. But it is like a think tank, and anyone that is a writer or a producer and wants to create with someone, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, they can go there and get their stuff put up. I don't think it's that easy in LA. I don't.
No, and that's how you get good, is by
right.
Like you're starting out, you don't know what you're doing yet, but you're still working. Like you're putting up scenes in class, and you're doing like tiny plays with like, it might be like what the British call pub theater.
Pub theater, yeah, that's well put, right?
Yeah, you're still like one of the, every play has like at most 5 to 7 characters, and like that you're gonna put up. So you're like basically at the very least, you're a supporting actor in a huge play, or at least a 2-hour play, I should say. And that's what makes you good. Like to couple that with your acting classes, whereas in LA, you're just, because I experienced both. In LA, I was just a classroom actor because there's so little work. There wasn't even YouTube back then. Like you had to book work if you wanted to be working, and it's so hard to book television work. And like the commercials I booked, like you're on camera for like 5 seconds, 7 seconds. So in like New York actors have theater actors have a huge advantage because it becomes so much better. And like both the actors I hired over the weekend were theater based, and they just knocked it out of the park. They're so talented.
Yeah, because they have the background that you get doing theater. What is different now though than say like back when you're talking about, I know the castings that I'm submitted on, it's both good and bad. I can now be submitted anywhere in the country, right? So that opens up a huge pool of work for me or for any actor. The downside to that is we're competing now against actors all over. We're all doing those Zoom auditions.
Yeah.
And that piece of the pie, right, has now gotten a lot smaller.
True. And then nobody pays top of the show anymore. Like, it's all scale.
Yeah,
And,
I have to tell you, it's all scale, and I mean, it's very, very challenging. I know, like with SAG, they now have so that people will work more. SAG low budget, SAG limited exhibition contracts, SAG deferred payment. They have other categories that they never had before. At the end of the day, I mean, you make more money being an extra on a national commercial than you can having a role in a film. But you know what? It's changed. That's just the way it is. And being in this industry, right? You know this. We just have to go with the flow.
But that's why you need that TikTok and that YouTube, so that
support you. Yeah.
Even if you're just in like 2 independent films in a year and a play, and maybe you make like 2 or 3 grand like all together.
Right.
Maybe use that notoriety to pimp your social medias, and maybe, it helps you make that much more money.
Yeah.
Like that exposure and like your selfie that you're taking with like the guy who used to be on Love Boat or whatever show, you know what I mean? It's like, at least you can get some traction. And I love that it empowers artists where you can make money even when you're not working. Because I have friends who are on Cameo.
Yeah.
And it's like, they may only make $500-600 a month doing it. But that's $500 in like, I don't know, 10 minutes of their time. And it just adds to they're both retired, so they have their SAG pensions and their Social Security. So an extra $500 is, what's $500?
I'm right there with you. Now, one of the things, I'm going to divert a little bit here. I pulled up your deep dive video because it really interests me that early on in your career, you worked with James Cameron, right, at Landmark, right? Do you know how invested James Cameron is in diving?
You know what? I know he's super into it. I wasn't able to stay in touch with him because I was like a tiny PA at the time.
Right.
But I just finished another reality teaser that's also dive based. I just don't know that Lightstorm, the company his production company, I don't know that they do reality. So
I don't know that they do reality, but you know what? It's worth on your end. It's worth, giving him a shout out. Say, hey, remember me? I happen to know him I'm a member of the Explorers Club, not because I'm a diver, because I go to remote places and make short, powerful films about living with tribes or saving gorillas and chimpanzees from poachers, right? But James is also a member of the Explorers Club, and he's gone to the deepest depths of the Marianas Trench, Joseph, where like your video is beautiful, but he goes down to where you can't see anything with the naked eye. He has to use what we call LiDAR technology, which lights up the bottom of the ocean. But it was very interesting to me because, and I'm going to play your deep dive show next, a couple of minutes of it. It's interesting to me that you do that and you worked with James in a different capacity. Definitely worth the reach out on your end. So we're going to show Deep Dive right now.
Thank you. I remember the moment I realized I was living my whole life in black and white. It was like discovering a world I never knew existed before. It was like walking on the moon or discovering flight. It was the moment I first went under. That was it for me. There was no more putting the pieces back together. No yellow brick road, no going back home. Things were different now. My life hasn't always been picture perfect. In fact, it's been quite hard. My father died at a young age, and I watched my mother struggle just to make ends meet. I've had my shares of ups and downs, but 20 meters beneath the sea, everything is put into perspective and colored by the rosy hue of peaceful acceptance. The underwater world beneath the sea and everything it has to offer had ruined me from my old life.
I was never going back to Kansas.
I still remember my first dive in a rock quarry in the mountains of Tennessee. It was freezing cold, but I still got certified. And 2 weeks later, I was doing it in Panama City. Now I'm in the Sea of Cortez, home to the greatest diving in the world. Just as beautiful as Mazatlan or Puerto Vallarta, but without all the consumerism and tourists that you get in Cabo and Cancun. It's just awesome people and awesome culture. I've traveled all over the world, from New York to London and San Francisco to Manila and all over the South Pacific. I've seen everything. I've worked as a bartender, a writer, a waiter, an actor, a broker, an entrepreneur. I've done everything. But the ocean will always be my home, especially San Carlos. Its sea and spirits were first romanticized by John Steinbeck and every diver who's been there since.
It's home to delicious food, beautiful women, the best tequila I've ever had.
I worked at the Beverly Hills Hotel. We had one of the best wine selections in the world, but I've never seen tequila like this. Or women. San Carlos has the best of both. When you think of Mexico, sure, you think of tacos, tequila, and maybe a little music. But let me tell you, tucked right in here, in the heart of downtown, is the Longhorn Steakhouse. And it is everything a Mexican restaurant should be. From succulent tapaqueño, mesquite grilled ribeye, seasoned with chilies that have been sun-dried in the Sonoran heat, tomahawk steak served sizzling with a side of chimichurri. Food doesn't get any better than this, and it's not just the food, it's the vibe. Cowboy boots, tequila shots, and mountain views, and then the staff. They treat you like you just came home from a long ride. The Longhorn Steakhouse isn't just a restaurant, it is a love letter to the land, the heat, and the hunger that only Mexico can satisfy. So come hungry, leave changed. Let's eat.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Tomahawk steak and tequila. I could so go for that right now.
I love Mexico. Have you been? You've been if you're in Mexico.
Yeah. I love Mexico too. And a number of my friends have left the States and have moved to Mexico, to Merida and Cabo and San Miguel Allende. Three very different places when you think about it. But yeah, it's great.
I don't know San Miguel or Allende. Like, where are those?
So San Miguel Allende is the hugest artist community, like of expats for years and years and years. It's in the mountains. It's gorgeous. It's an amazingly healthy lifestyle. It's earthy, crunchy, you know. And again, you give it a quick Google. It attracts, of course, artists. People go there to paint. The light is amazing. And it's a whole, you know, this, Joseph, the whole culture and lifestyle, right? That's in Mexico. It's everything that appeals to you. The diving aspect of you is very interesting to me because if I just read your bios and all of that, I wouldn't know about this other part of you that is so important. It's like a parallel universe for you.
Oh, I love it. It's a lot of people don't know this about Jerry Garcia, but he was able to kick his drug addiction by scuba diving.
I didn't know that. No, not at all.
And for me, I related to the story because I've done like, you know, when you're an actor, like you're always doing yoga and like these like, I don't know, touchy-feely, hippy-dippy things to kind of like free yourself up and be more.
Yeah.
Especially like our generations, like we grew up with like tough 1950s parents, you know, like they were like work hard and just there wasn't a lot of access to self-empowerment, things like that.
Absolutely. Work hard for somebody else.
Yeah. And like, you know, they came out of the depression, or at least their parents did. And it's like, you know, thank God you have a job. Thank God you have a skill and this kind of thing. So, but they were like, you know, watch your breathing and this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't know what they were talking about. And I just couldn't listen to my breathing and pay attention to it. And even when I played sports, like the stretching.
Yeah.
Why am I stretching? I'm so limber already. Like I'm doing all these stretches.
Why am I doing this?
and I don't like nothing is stretching, and I'm touching my toe, like my face is on my knee. Like, why am I doing this? Like now I know, like now I need to stretch. But scuba diving, when you're just 2 meters under the sea, like you listen to every breath, like
Yeah,
every breath you take.
absolutely.
And Jerry Garcia said it saved his life because he couldn't stop getting high, and then he went underwater, and it's this amazing experience, and he was able to slow his life down to just his breath and
Right.
just be. And after scuba diving, I was able to do not just yoga, but like Kundalini yoga, where there's manifesting involved, and you're just kind of like, you just get into like this Zen state where you're just existing, and all your stress goes and all your anxiety goes out the window. You're not thinking about your past, which depresses you. You're not thinking about your future, where all this anxiety lives.
Yeah.
You're just in the present, and then you come out of it and you get to create what you want to create, until all your anxiety catches up to you.
Would you say that scuba diving it changed your brain patterns?
I mean, it does. I mean, I have to go back the same way people have to go back to like Burning Man. Like I have to recharge under the water. Like I'll be scuba diving. I've never gone diving with sea lions before, but I'll be doing that in Mexico.
I've done that. So I'm not a diver. I have small ear canals. I have tried. I'm a snorkeler, but in the Galapagos, the wild sea lions will come around you. It's the coolest thing in the world. They're just there with their pointy noses and their whiskers, right? And they have big eyes, and they're just like looking at you. And they're completely tolerant of who you are. They're not looking at you like, who's this foreign thing? Because they don't take it as that, right? You're in the water, you're sharing the same space as them, and they treat you accordingly. It's going to be amazing for you. Amazing.
I can't wait. I mean, I mean, just the pictures. If you Google like scuba diving in Rocky Point, it looks like so much fun. And I can't believe I never did it. Like with all the times like I went to Rocky Point, I can't believe I never went.
Where is Rocky Point? Is that in California?
It's kind of at the California-Arizona border. It's
okay.
Puerto Penasco, which means Rocky Point, or the port of the Rocky Point. And it's where the Colorado River essentially meets the Sea of Cortez. And it's just, it's gorgeous. The Sea of Cortez is known for some of the best diving in the world.
It is, yeah.
And I'll be in San Carlos, where I'm also going to hopefully be diving with 200 to 300 hammerhead sharks. I can't wait to see that.
Have you done shark diving before?
I have. There's a couple of places in Hawaii where you go. Like they've been feeding like the scraps off their fishing boats to these two areas where the sharks are now just dependent on the scraps from those shipping boats. It's part of their migratory patterns now. So every time you go, there's always going to be like 40 or 50 sharks beneath you.
Wow.
And I went in the cage, and then the next day I went back and I was cage free. And it was, it's just amazing to have that many sharks like circling you and checking you out.
How did it feel? Like, did you have a fear factor with that, or you felt okay?
When in the cage, totally safe. When we were cage free humans, I was kind of like, this is kind of scary. Because these creatures could take your arm off. Like they're not messing around. And we were just snorkeling and free diving, but I didn't do really any free diving because I just wasn't in the mood to like go 10 meters deep with like sharks.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see how that might not be your cup of tea.
But they don't come up. They really didn't come up that close to us.
Okay.
I got a few coming close to me. I don't know if you know this, but when you have a GoPro, like they like the electrical signal.
I do know that. Yeah.
So if you if you don't want them coming anywhere near you, give the camera to your husband. But
or someone you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that woman who got her arms bit off. It's like, what were you thinking? But like they don't come nearly as close to you when you're out of the cage. Like in the cage, they came right up to the bars.
Right.
And right beneath us, like they were all around us. Out of the cage, they were typically like 20 to 30 feet away from us.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they would skim by us. And it was always so majestic because there's just no barrier. And
I had a shark expert on here a couple of weeks ago, Hans, who now works over at the New York Aquarium. He used to open up for Kiss. So he's kind of music. I love people like that. He was, and he's still in a rock band, but he runs the shark area at the New York Aquarium. This guy knew so much. And the one thing he did say, the whole thing we hear about shark attacks, he was definitely pro shark. He's like, rarely will they, attack. And I'm like, well, how do you explain that right to the person that's missing a limb? We all see those people that have lost a body part. And he was funny. He came up with some kind of reason or another as to why that happened. Not blaming the person, just blaming maybe the temperatures in the water or whatever. The sharks could do no wrong as far. And I just loved his attitude. He's loved sharks as long as he can remember. And we know what you just said about how majestic they are. Absolutely. I was going to suggest to you, if you really want to seriously dive with sharks, the Cocos Islands off of Costa Rica. I don't know if you've heard of them. That's where you want to go.
I have to check that out. When it comes to like shark attacks, I kind of encapsulated it for a friend. Like, there's two reasons they attack us. The one is obvious. Like if you're a reef shark or even if just like a barracuda,
right.
You're handling fish and you're a fisherman.
They smell it.
Yeah, they're going to come to you to check out the smell and they're going to go for the fish. And they may mistake your hands and feet for fish.
Right.
When the other reason is if they're just like, they do feel with their mouths. So we're kind of like parsley. Like they're usually going to leave us alone. Like most people don't eat parsley. They don't eat humans.
Right.
Sadly, some people do eat parsley and a lot of people chew on it. So that's always going to be there when you're dealing with sharks. Like it is dangerous. Like it's definitely dangerous. Just like with whales, when people, you see them, like they're gentle giants. But if you get too close, they'll crush you, Yeah. They don't want to crush you. And I don't think there's ever been a reported killer whale attack. But you don't want to be the first.
No, that's how I look at it. It's like you want to be safe when you do this kind of thing. A lot of people do the shark diving in the cages. It gets you up close and personal and you're safe. Now, I wanted to ask you, have you ever gone out with stingrays?
I've seen them. I didn't follow them. We all know the story about the crocodile hunter.
Yeah, well, but I know the true story as to why that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one thing you're told, because I'm not a diver, but I'm a snorkeler, swimmer, and I've gone to some very remote places in the Caymans, which is not remote. You can go out there and you can swim with them. And the thing they tell you before you do this, you've got to avoid the tail no matter what. And from what I heard, his person who was directing him put him in the line of fire. And he was, of course, a very smart, savvy guy dealing with wildlife. But it was at that moment that tail got him. You always have to cover your own butt when you're doing these things. Well, this from diving. You go with a dive master, you go with other divers, but ultimately you need to know what you're doing when you're out there. And I think
you can't.
Right.
And it's so hard, even when you're diving, this, like you have your mask, like the fish can see everything. They can see like 360 degrees, but you can see like, what is that, 40, 50 degrees, either side. Like you don't have you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know where you're at in space, unless you're super established.
Yeah.
And they're so much faster. I mean, they move at like the speed of light and you're like in slow motion. So it's just like I've gone diving with rays. Like in Palau, they have these giant manta rays.
Yeah, you have done that. Yeah.
And it's kind of like the cartoon where you can grab onto them and they'll drag you. It's like, it's so incredible. It's so incredible. Like that was like one of the best experiences of my life. It's just being able to ride a manta ray. It's
that would be totally amazing. Absolutely, totally amazing.
Yeah, and they they kind of like it. Like they're not trying to shake you.
No, I know.
And they see you come in, and it's you could tell. I mean, I've never like tried to like when you're holding your cat, like if it wants to go. It's not like there's no question about that.
It's not like holding your cat. That's a really funny analogy.
But they
versus a cat.
Like that manta ray was willing to take me from one side of the ocean to the other.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you see trained divers, like with with dolphins and the dolphin. Well, I've done it with
Well,
dolphins.
we got into, with my friend from the aquarium, we got into the whole thing about what happened at SeaWorld and with that trainer who was killed. These are still, at the end of the day, wild animals. They're instinctive. And again, like I said to you, even though that manta was willing to take you from one end to the other or whatever, you're still with something that's a different species. It's up to you to be careful, right?
It is. And I don't know where people land on like the spectrum of like, I love animals, you love animals, and I want to protect the environment. But it's like some people are like, no zoos, zoos are evil. Well, I love zoos. I've been going to the zoo since I was born. I think they're fantastic as long as you treat the animals ethically.
I'm a big defender, like the San Diego Zoo, those places, amazing. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've spent a lot of time in Africa in parks that were not protected all that well because the rangers were threatened, and these animals are going to be gunned down. Okay, these hoodlums have Black Hawk helicopters. They will gun down an entire herd of elephants. So you have to say to yourself at the end of the day, which is better, to try and have animals where young people can go and educate themselves. Maybe they'll be the next person that'll figure out how to save a species.
Yeah, it's like we got to protect them, but I also think like when it comes to the battle lines, it's like a friend, like I used to own horses, and our horses
Wow.
Horses like love to be ridden. Like you pull up in the driveway, they come. They're not coming for food. Like they have food, they have water, but they're bugging you to take them for a ride.
Yeah.
And like so many right, like they kind of push the envelope that far. If you want to be vegan, be vegan. If you want to be like, and I do it to be healthy. Like on most days, I will be vegan. I still eat meat, but
nobody's judging you.
when it comes to like animals in the wild, like we gotta have like as many national parks in other countries as we have in this country.
I totally agree. And there are countries in Africa are doing amazing jobs. Botswana is incredible. South Africa is really having a lot of issues with poachers. I have a friend that took a bunch of poachers and turned them into eco guides. Not an easy thing to do. He did it by getting them involved in soccer. Use soccer as the way to reach them, right? Raising money, put money behind the soccer team, and then got in there and said, listen, guys, you can't be poaching anymore. We're going to make money with soccer, and we're going to send you out there and educate you with tourists as to why you want to keep these animals alive. I talk about this at the Explorers Club all the time. And seriously, if you come up to New York, you should come see me, because now we're on a subject that's very close to my heart. And I can tell it's close to yours too. We are coming to the end of our interview. We do have some comments, and I always like to give a shout out to our amazing people on here. I have, of course, Rose Trentman, who was a boxing commissioner and an incredible friend of mine, big heart, loves people, loves animals. Momo Cabrera, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Jimmy Star, Jimmy's show is next. Everybody tune in for the Jimmy Star show with Ron Russell, because that's coming up next. You don't want to miss them. And of course, Prince Fleet Easton, who's from the West Coast. Love this person to death. Yoga is keeping me young. This guy is on every red carpet, and he does tons for charity too. Everybody knows him. And again, I love when he watches my show, because we're talking about a talent that works all the time. You can Google him. He's in films. He does live things. He MCs, and he does a ton for charity, right? Because at the end of the day, we all want to be able to take our talents and give back. So, I have a quick one for you. As a stand-up comedian, and I should have asked you this earlier on, but I got so into your diving thing. As a stand-up comedian, what kinds of things did you like to talk about? How would you describe yourself as a stand-up?
I changed hats so many times, which like in the beginning, I was like, guys, I'll do whatever I want to do. And then I was trying to be like Jay Leno, and then I tried to be like all the dirty, filthy comics. Like I just changed inspiration so many times.
Yeah.
It took me forever to build up my hour, but it took me like 5 years when it should have taken like 2.5 or 3, like most guys. And like now I just talk about, like, with all that searching and all the places I've been all over the world, all the things I've talked about, now I just talk about like my family.
Yeah.
It's really the only thing that really motivates me. It's what I care most about. Politics doesn't interest me in the slightest bit. Every once in a while I'll throw in a political joke, but it's so rare. I just talk about like supporting your family, showing up to work, making enough money to, to make your woman happy and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we call it the real stuff at the end of the day, right? So, what's coming up next for you? Because I know you're working on a bunch of stuff.
I'm in post on my film. It's called Swanee Angels. It's
Beautiful
so
name.
tight. It's so good. And I'm going to do another short in October. And I've got 2 features with really big directors attached. I can't talk about like who's attached because I'm in the process of attaching actors. But we've got like a movie star attached to one, and we're in the process of attaching the action stars to the other. And the one that we have the director and the stars attached, and we're just trying to line up schedules. And it's been 2 years of trying to schedule this movie.
Oh my God, that is a long time. Wow.
Yeah, to have everything in place and not have like that's like the hang up. It's like, especially as like a first time, I'm not really a first time writer director, but I've yet to have a multi-million-dollar thing produced that I've done.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like that credit, as you know, is like everything. It's like, well, now he's the guy who did this, as opposed to, a complete unknown or someone who's just talented or a friend of so-and-so, or he's repped by Susan, or he's repped by this person or that person. It's like, I'm actually the writer producer of a movie that stars a movie star, and like people have seen it.
Yeah.
It's like, it changes everything. And it's like, push it in production.
Yeah, right. Let it happen.
I'm not like the controlling, I'm not the lead producer, so there's nothing I can do. It's just, I gotta wait.
It's gonna be hard for you when you're told you have to sit on your hands a little bit,
Yeah, signing over all your rights. I mean, that's why you want to work in television, so you can control everything.
Right. So you have more control. What can we expect with Deep Dive? Are you going to do a follow-up with that? It's a wonderful travel segment.
You know what? Now that I'm done, now that I'm out of production, I'm going to be pounding the phone on that. I just have to edit one more reality teaser.
Okay.
So I'm all about post for the next 2 months, like just wrapping up this teaser and then wrapping up the short that I did, which is amazing. Like, I can't wait to see it. Like, I've already seen the footage and the footage is good, but I just want to see it put together. But so I'm all about post and then development. I wish I had time for stand-up and to do more stuff, but
well, yeah, but at the end of the day, what did I do here? I'm losing my show. I shouldn't mess around. Oops. Am I still on the stream?
You are.
Okay. I don't know. You can tell I'm not, I don't know how to get out of this. I was scrolling and then I lost you. All right. Well, I have no technical ability. Cameron, my producer, are you there? Oh my goodness.